Hello, welcome back to Let's Talk Song. Now, I've done 4 of these so far. This is number 5. They're not doing well. You guys are not really flocking onto it saying, let's talk about songwriting, let's learn about songs. Let's see what other people are writing, and based on some of the stuff they've done, learn more about what we're doing with writing. It seems that you like to talk about gear, but how to actually turn that into songs, not super interesting. But I can't chase clicks. I can't just go and do the content that you want to see, because how is that fun for the creator? Always thinking about, what does the audience want to see next? It's impossible to predict. I want to do the content that I want to do. And I'm a songwriter, I'm a producer, I work with a ton of songwriters. I've done it for many, many years. This is actually what I'm good at. If I talk about overdrives, oh my God, the next clone, tube screamer, king of tone, who gives a crap? They all do a certain function. They all work great in the song. Just use whatever you have. I know my channel's about gear, but come on. I love gear. Look at me, okay? But if we actually do not train the thing that we actually use the gear for, which is making music, what's the point in having all this stuff on the walls? Why have 40 guitars on the walls and actually never write a song with them? Never record anything with them? I get it. It's fun. It looks nice. But making music is amazing. Putting the pieces of the puzzle together is amazing. Finding that one chord that goes, wow, that's amazing. So I don't care if these videos are tanking or not. I'm making them because this is what I'm really passionate about. Today we're going to talk about chords. This is my breakfast. We always talk about chords. We're going to talk about not really having a grasp on the relationships between chords. Okay, I can know all the chords. I can know a C sharp minor, woo, and I can know 7s and 11s and all that stuff. But if I don't know how they live together, if I don't know what the family relationships are, if I don't know what the functions of chords are, I can either have a very good feel for it, which many songwriters do. They have no idea what the family relationships are, but they just feel what chord should come next and what goes together. But if you just randomly throw chords together because you know them, it's not the greatest idea. So I want to thank, what's his face? Ray Cochran. Now, Ray sent me 2 songs, and they're a pretty good example of what not to do when it comes to picking chords. So thank you, Ray, and I hope you can learn something from this lesson. I'm not here to bash your music. Let's listen to the first song while I go and find the chords.
can't face the questions. I'd rather stay indoors. When you say leave, my mind is all at sea. You mean a difference too.
Enough for now. We can look at the lyrics in a bit, but today we primarily talk about chords. I see many chords. I see a problem in that they really don't go together. There are key changes all over the place. So Ray, you clearly know how to play those chords, and obviously you feel something, but I feel like you're struggling putting them together. It feels extremely random, and your melody shows me that as well. Your melody shows me you really don't have a way to go. It's very monotonous because you have to kind of weave in and out of these chord changes that don't really go together. Oftentimes when you have something like this, your melody actually will just go up and down with the chord. So you got a G minor and an F sharp minor. You will probably just follow that chord, because especially if you're the guitar player you're playing and you're just following the direction of the chord change. So let me get my chalabiza. Do I have a better pick here? I don't know. I don't think so. Come on, chalabiza QD, how cool is she? Before we look at raise chords, let me teach you a couple of things, which of course in our songwriting course is coming up later this year. This is really what 15 hours of harmony are about, teaching you how to do this extremely well and fully understand it, okay? So, we have a key. Let's say key of, why not? Key of C. That is 7 notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 7 notes. And they are in a certain relationship. 2 half steps, 2 half steps, 1 half step, 2, 2, 2, 1. And that is in every key. Doesn't matter what key I play. Those relationships are always there. It is recommended to use chords that are using that Lego box, that are using those notes. And those chords will end up to be certain chord qualities. So if I only have those notes, on the first note of the key, I can only build one chord, which is a major chord, or a major 7. I can't do a C minor. Why? Because I don't have that note. If I play that note, I'm already in a different key. Get it? On the second note, I can build a minor chord. I can't do major because I'm missing that F sharp. See? I just can't do it. I mean, I could, but then it has a different meaning. Third one, minor, major, major, minor, and diminished. So what do we have? We have C major, D minor, E minor. Now I have step F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, or half diminished, and C major again. So that is major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. M, 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 D. D. No, not a good mnemonic to remember. That doesn't help you. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished.
So starting, for example, on a D, you've got 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Okay, 3, 4, 7, 8. 3, 4, 7, 8. 3, 4, 7, 8. Those are the half steps.
Certain things will automatically fall into place because of the distance between those 7 notes. If those 7 notes are all we have, in this case, very simple on the keyboard, white keys. Let's not show it on guitar because way too complicated. It's much easier on keyboard. Remember when Rafa just did the one shape? Do it again. Do the shape again.
Down here.
Right here. Those are the chords in C major built with the building blocks of C major. You have to remember
major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished.
So wait, what? Wait. Let's do this again. You have to do major,
major, minor, minor,
major, minor, minor,
diminished.
Major, major, minor, diminished.
Is that supposed to be helpful in any way? What you
major,
just did?
minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. I think it's massively helpful what I'm doing here. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. See? I mean, I think it's very here. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Just remember. Now, if I use those chords, I can write songs that are in a key. There's more to it. The chords actually have relationships. So the stable ones are the 1 and the 6, the C major and the A minor. They're parallels to each other, and they would be the ones that you can always come home to. They're the home chord. Or they're interchangeable when it comes to stability. Then there's the 4 chord, the F, which sounds floaty. It's not home, but it's also not, I really need to go somewhere. It's just hanging there. Okay? It's a nice chord for in between. Okay? And that can be replaced by the 2. D minor. Now, the 5 chord is extremely unstable, especially as a 5/7. That just wants to go home. Okay? Now, of course, if you have stable, floaty, unstable, go home. Okay? The 3 chord technically is a parallel to the 5 chord, but you can't really use it as unstable want to go home chord. Just doesn't work. It's also not a stay on it chord. It's a beautiful parking spot. It's the chord for in between if you want to say we're going further. Okay, the chord progression continues. Now with that knowledge, which you can also feel in how the chords feel, you can have an emotional arc from stable, floaty, 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 stable, floaty, floaty, stable, floaty, floaty, unstable, crashing down onto the chorus, which all of a sudden maybe is in minor. Okay? Maybe try the try. Can you try?
Let me just.
So we have the major, minor, minor, major, major, minor diminished, So the tonic is stable. That's your home. That's home base. That's the house that you live in. There you go.
So we've got a tonic here. We are at home. Floaty. We want to go home.
Dominant 7 chord has that super strong pull. Let's take the E thing, for example. E major, A major. I take the same chord and I move it in root position. Okay, move it again. And the reason, and I'm actually showing that right here, the reason it defines the key is this.
We can see that the 2 minor shares 2 notes with F major. Okay. 6 minor is the tonic parallel. A very, 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 very important parallel.
But Rafa can show now while I go to the bathroom.
All right, common chord progressions. So early on we said, don't try to be the smart kid that kind of does everything differently, okay?
You can also guide how stable or unstable the chords are. Let's say my 5 chord is very unstable. I can make it less unstable by making it not a 7 but a normal triad. Well, that's still wanting to go home, right? What if I make it not a triad, but I make it a sus chord? So I make it a sus4. Doesn't want to go home, right? That wants to go to the major version of itself. That wants to go home, and the 7 wants to go home badly. And we're going to the A minor. Now it wants to go home. Okay. And there we're home. So that's the tendency it wants to do. It's floaty, but it doesn't want to go anywhere. It's actually really, really nice. It can sit there without wanting to go anywhere, but it's still a 5, right? Right.
Will to move, but as Henning correctly stated, the tendency is more to the actual 5 chord than back to the 1 chord.
When you play major and minor chords with distortion, what happens with the distortion are the harmonics. Those notes are being emphasized. With that knowledge, you can guide tension, release, floatiness in your song. So let's look at what Ray did here. Got a G minor and an F sharp minor. That doesn't exist in any key. Remember, there are these 7 chords, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and they are in certain relationships. Not anywhere there do we have a half step apart 2 minor chords. Doesn't happen, okay? So he's starting. So this will technically be G minor. If you start on G minor, there's a very good chance that it's the 6 of B flat major. But he's not establishing B flat major. It's just going straight to F sharp minor and immediately ripping us out of any kind of context. So F sharp minor to D. Okay. F sharp minor and D have a relationship. That could be the 3 chord and the 1 chord. It's possible. And then immediately goes to D minor. Let's talk about that for a second. That is something that exists. Yes, you can do that. It is very common on the 4 to do a 4 to 4 minor. Now, can you only use these 7 chords that we talked about? No. I'm going to give you a very, very, very brief overview over something that we're really going into depth. You can do secondary dominants, meaning this pull chord. You can actually do that chord for almost every chord in your progression. So let's say instead of I want to have the chord that pulls to the 1, I could have a chord that pulls to the 5. What would that be? Well, it would be the 5th of that chord. So it would be this. So if I'm doing a chord, the 5th of the chord that I want to go to, and I do it as a 7th chord. Okay, so I can do this. So I've used a chord that's not in my 7 chords. It's a D major, but the function is a secondary dominant. It's pulling towards the 5th below. I could do this with an E major going to the A minor. So the E major doesn't belong in my 7 chords, but it has a function. The function is being a dominant for where it's going. And then actually I can have chords that are borrowed from related keys. Okay, I could have this. What did I just do? Well, there's a 4 and a 5. Now I'm doing the 4 and 5 from C minor, so I'm borrowing from a related key, C minor, A flat major, B flat major, and back to C major. So for these 2 chords, I changed the mode. I changed it from C major to C minor, and that is called modal interchange. So yes, there are more chords you can use, and you probably have, but with purpose. You could borrow any of these chords for your songwriting. So you're in C major, strumming along. You want to borrow chords from C Locrian? Let's try that for a millisecond. Yeah, don't be careful with this. Modal interchange works when you're borrowing and then you're giving back. Borrowing and giving back. If you're borrowing and then borrowing somewhere else and then borrowing somewhere else, all of a sudden you kind of forgot what you borrowed and you never give it back. Is that an analogy that works?
And you modulate, you change home basically. And this is what you don't do with modal interchange. You don't change home, but you just kind of
exactly
replace the windows.
The tonal
That's an analogy that works.
But the 4 minor is beautiful, especially when you come from the 4. So you've all heard this. Very, very common. I think at this point, should we play them the chorus for today?
Let's go. Actually,
I was just going to play the recording, but I mean, you can play it.
I don't know. The chorus is actually not doing it. It's the verse. And I think we should play the recording.
Yeah.
Seize the day as if tomorrow never came, and break yourself away. Unchain yourself and live today. Today, don't you wait, don't hesitate. Don't you waste your time away. Oh, just do and be you, and your life will count today. And
If we have this chord progression, it's really beautiful. And D major to D minor, like Ray's doing, is usually a 4-chord thing. So let me show you. That doesn't sound like I'm changing key, right? That sounds very familiar because it is being done. So it is very common to do it on the 4-chord, not just anywhere. So what Ray's doing here is, okay, we don't know where we are. So that could be a 1, but maybe not. And then back to the, and then up. So what he did here is, I know these 2 chords and I just reverse them because why not? And then D minor. Do you hear any kind of stability, tension, floatiness, an emotional arc? These are 4 chords that are, well, not randomly thrown together because, and then he reverses the first 2 and then the last 2. But there's no rhyme or reason to it, other than it looks good on paper. I love the way, by the way, that he did the lead sheet. That is cool. It would be nice if instead of measure numbers, or not instead, in addition to measure numbers, it actually gave us the parts of the song as well. Verse, chorus. Now let's look at his verse, which is clearly his verse. All of a sudden we have an A minor. How does, I mean, we were at G minor, now all of a sudden we're in A minor. Coming from a D major, the A minor would be, that's hard to say because that means the D would be a 5 in G, and then we're going to the 2, for example. Clearly Ray isn't thinking that way. Now, A minor to B minor you can do. It is a 2 minor into 3 minor. That's the only time in our major, minor, minor, major, minor, minor, diminished run. 2 minor chords are right next to each other. So it has to be the 2 and the 3 if we're looking for chord relationships. But you probably wouldn't do that because there's no, you're starting on the 2, you're starting on a floaty chord. Going to the 3, it's a placeholder chord. So you go into the 4, that works. So we're still in 1 key. And then we go back to the 3, which is a placeholder chord. That would be the 6, the actual, this is home. If we're thinking that we're in G major, let me establish G major for you. See, now that you've established G major in your head, it's easier to actually hear the chords. He never established G major in the beginning. So all of a sudden we are thrown into the verse, which is all of a sudden in G major, and that's, where are we? So end, he's repeating that, but in the end, what the? B minor, A minor, G minor? We're clearly completely somewhere else. And then F sharp minor. Completely lost me there. Then he's doing the intro thing again. So he has blocks of themes. It's not just random. He's going back to the verse. He's going back to that intro theme. Okay, there's at 59A down here. This is where it changes. That's where the third part of the song comes in, whatever that part is. And we have a C sharp minor. And then half step up to D, no, whole step up. It's a modulation. He's modulating that A minor, B minor part. So it's the same thing. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much that part, just modulated. This is not something that anyone will listen to and say, oh, I get it. And the melody isn't connecting the chords. The melody isn't doing something very cool that really grabs you and makes you understand the chord progression. The chord progression it's not, I don't want to say following rules, because all rules are there to be broken, especially in music. But the thing is, whenever you break a rule and it actually sounds good, it very likely has a reason why. And you can see, it's actually borrowed from that key and that key is related. These things don't make a lot of sense. So, Ray, start with the 7 chords in the key and learn about secondary dominance, because you can do cool stuff with it. Learn about sus chords. Learn about modal interchange if you really have to. For example, if I'm in C major, so I'm throwing in an E flat major chord. How does that work? Well, it works because it is the 1 when you're in C minor. So when you're in C minor, and the C would be the 6. The 7 would be this. And the 1 would be E flat major. Okay? Now we're in C major. Now we're dipping into C minor. We're borrowing a chord. And then we dip back into C major. That is something you can do. But again, the keys that you can dip into and dip out of and borrow chords from, there aren't that many that actually make sense musically. You can borrow the 5 from C minor, for example. So if C was C minor, then the 5, so that would be the 6, and then the 5 would be B flat major. Remember when we did, those two were 4 and 5 borrowed from minor. So you can just borrow the 5. Could also be borrowed from Mixolydian, where C is the 5 chord, meaning we are dipping into F major, where C is the 5, so C Mixolydian, and we're borrowing this as a 4 chord, which actually is more likely, because we don't have to change that many notes to make that happen. Actually, the only note that we need to change to make that happen is 1 note. So C major is C mixo is, okay? So you're only changing 1 note. So the less you have to change, also in your head, the more right it sounds when you're dipping into another key. So very likely we're not changing from to C minor, which would be... It's changing 3 notes. We don't have to do that. We change 1 note, and that enables us to do the B flat major. All this stuff is not super complicated to know. I know it feels like it right now, but it's not impossible to understand. You can actually follow along if you do it step by step. I did it, of course. What I did right now, if you stretch that out very slowly with diagrams and everything over the course of a couple of hours, you will get a grasp on it. And that's what we're doing in our songwriting course that comes out later in the year, which of course I'm trying to sell to you, you numbnuts. Let's look at lyrics. When you say we, you don't mean me. That's a rhyme. It's not bad. You talk of someone new, and there's nothing I can do. Rhyming. Cool. People stop and ask me if I'm doing well. And now all of a sudden we got an A-A-B-B rhyme in the first stanza. And now we got an X-A-X-A. What am I saying?
The first rhyming pattern that I want to present is one for lazy people. This is X-A-X-A. Remember that X doesn't rhyme with anything. So X-A-X-A verses are relatively easy to write because 2 out of 4 verses don't rhyme. 2 out of 4 lines, sorry about that, don't rhyme. We both lie silently still in the dead of the night. Although we both
which is one line, of course, but it's beautifully split up.
Yes, and the fact that it's split up makes it an X-A-X-A pattern, right? So we've got this family rhyme between night and inside. It's not a perfect rhyme, but it's close enough. And still and together don't have anything to do with each other.
Not even close. Why X? Well, this one doesn't rhyme. People stop and ask me. Actually, it wouldn't be people stop and ask me. People stop and ask me. So if you're rhyming with this, it would have to be an I to actually rhyme. If I'm doing well. But I dodged their questions, so this is also X because it doesn't rhyme with this. There's nothing I can tell. I hear Leslie coming in. Hello?
Hello?
Are you bringing nectarines?
Yes.
You can come and bring them.
No,
Why not?
because I don't want to be in your video.
You wouldn't be in the video. I trust me, I'll cut it out.
I don't trust you.
She doesn't trust me. No, I'll cut it out later. She's not coming in. Thank you, baby. So we got ABAB. No, AABB and then XAXA. Okay, changed it up. When you say we, it's not how it should be. So we got AA, changed, rearranged. Okay, same rhyme pattern. People, someone ask me questions. US, indoors. So there is this block and this block follows the same pattern. And this block follows the same pattern. That's not horrible. It's just sung in a way where it's very monotonous. And with these chords, they can't really write a melody that gets into people's brains. I don't see it possible. I mean, it's a challenge for someone if they want to try, but I don't really see it happening. It's the chord structure that's the main issue. And I've got another song from him which is similar. So Ray, look at the relationships of chords, chord functions. There's much material out there, but of course, what Rafa and I we've prepared in the songwriting course that's coming out on Spectre Digital later this year is freaking awesome. Really, that course will teach you all of it. It'll teach you melodic motifs. It's so much stuff. I know. I'm making it. I'm biased, but it's good. That's it for Let's Talk Song for this Sunday. And I'm filming more right now, which come next Sunday and then the Sunday after. We will be doing this whether you watch or not. I don't care. Love you guys. Animals at the end.
So don't from inside. How do I address you?